What's the word, y'all? One of my favorite all-time moments in One Piece, besides Luffy getting his ass stretched like a rubber chicken, has got to be the Straw Hats visiting a new island. Letting Oda go hog wild on the island's designs, culture, and ideas has got to be One Piece's greatest strength. World building so good that it makes Naruto villages look like cardboard sets. I'm sorry, but it has to be said. But once again, I have to be the bearer of bad news. Joey Chestnut is not gay. If he was, he would be the greatest slob trobber in all the 4 galaxies. Just like One Piece's island. Might sound and look good on paper, but we are yet to be reminded that every island the Straw Hats have been to isn't your average holiday inn in the Bahamas. They're either enslaved, run by a dictator, or ruled with fear, or worse, be inhabited by the one man that I hate the most, the man who should not be named Jack Matthew Rosales. Don't name him. So the likeliness of an island being a mini Epstein place in One Piece is actually quite high in One Piece standards. So, it's probably fucking weird, bro. But again, let's rip off the band-aid and you just ignore all the fucking weird shit that's going on the island. Because with every island Oda makes, he tells a story. And some of them involve stuff from even in our own world, which is kind of crazy. Our own disgusting, inhumane, unforgiving world. I was about to say something crazy, but hopefully, the camera didn't pick it up. This is why we're gonna be diving deep into the islands in the One Piece world, and if they existed, what would be their real world counterpart if they existed in the real world? Subscribe, like, support small creators, and fuck Jack. Let's kick straight off the bat with Drum Island. The frozen dumpster of an island where the stinking rat of a doctor joined the crew. When I first saw those giant mountains of ice, I immediately thought of Nepal's Himalayas as an inspiration, which might be the only good thing about Nepal, which is the Himalayas. But speaking of third world countries, if we dive deeper in the culture of Drum Island, we would find much more than Wapple's giant metal balls. Because before Wapple's purge, Drum Island had a very abundant amount of medical knowledge in its disposal. Notably the 2 renowned doctors of Drum Island, Dr. Hirlook and Dr. Corella, who might be the sexiest 140-year-old doctor to ever exist, who both mentored the greatest doctor to ever live, Tony Chopper. Chopper? What the fuck is Tony Chopper? Who might be the sexiest reindeer to ever live, unless you give me a close second. But speaking about sexy reindeers, Drum Island also have reindeers. So putting it all together, we got reindeers, we got medical knowledge, giant snowy mountains. I think the closest real-world counterpart to Drum Island has got to be Switzerland. Switzerland got tons of snowy mountains and is the birthplace of Red Cross. Because Switzerland was so neutral in the wars, its medical knowledge launched so high that they can make the Queen of England exist again. Plus, they got a lot of reindeers. Even I heard Santa was going to Switzerland to just party when Mrs. Claus is out, okay? So, you got Santa going to Switzerland, Santa Claus, reindeers, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, Chopper the blue-nosed reindeer, Sean Combs Diddy, one of America's greatest American rappers and, producers to ever exist. Even Chopper's hat mimic a Swiss alpine chick. So Switzerland is definitely Drum Island if it existed in the real world. Water break. You thought I was gonna cut this? Man, I don't cut. The second island we're gonna talk about is Alabasta. Now, we can go one or two ways, okay? Both being correct since Oda took inspiration between India and Egypt. And, as you can see right now from what I'm wearing, obviously Egypt. Not because there's sand everywhere. Might be a little about that. But if you see, the cities also kind of nail it. Alabarnia, the capital of Alabasta, looks a lot like Cairo. Nanohana's crowded market, with ships sailing and entering for a pit stop, is almost like Khan el Khalil trading spices and scamming people for money. Just look at the architecture for Crocodile's Casino and it just screams like the Luxor Temple from Egypt. But trust me, I have Egyptian friends, they told me all about it. They told me like, oh, it's just not sand, Nathan. Like, why you always imagine there's gonna be sand? Like, most of the cities don't even have sand. I was like, well, fuck you. I just want to fucking see sand. I just want to see some sandy cheeks. But I think the most obvious thing about, Egypt being Alabasta, the most, the one that takes the cakes and eats it and just fucks it, okay, has got to be its history. Do I even need to talk about the pyramids? Yes, the pyramids in Egypt. The pyramids that came from the sky. Or maybe the theory that pyramids was actually longer than it used to be. I have a sliding chair. I don't know. That that was not planned. I don't know why it was sliding. Even Crocodile's endless hunt for the treasure of Alabasta is unfortunately what a lot of explorers do to other historical places in the world. They disregard history for a bunch of treasure and gold, and for Crocodile's sake, that's Pluton and the poneglyphs. Poneglyph that might hold a secret to unlock the secrets of the secret void century. Who knows? You know, Pluton might be a reference to the pyramid holding the power to destroy the world if it's all stacked to one another. And not to go off on a tangent, but like Crocodile, like why the fuck he was so weak, man? Like, I'm sorry, English is not my first language, but like Crocodile, you were in the Grand Line, you're a warlord, and you lost to like a, you know, not even like a early Grand Line Luffy. While Doflamingo is out there like fighting like Gear 4 and actually, you know, putting up a big fight. He's such a fucking loser, man. Let's move on to our third island, which is Shandora, the golden ground zero that was lifted up by the knockoff stream and became part of Skypiea, the flying island itself. Which I know flying islands don't exist, so I'm not gonna give you a real world counterpart for flying islands because they don't exist. And I'm smart. But since they have a city of gold, I immediately thought of El Dorado. But since El Dorado hasn't been found yet, I think the closest counterpart for Shandora in the real world is the Amazon rainforest, with a hint of Peru and Guatemala on the side. Tribes being angry at outsiders at the day, and they do weird sexy rituals at night. Its culture mimics a lot of Native and South American beliefs and rituals. Even the bell ringing of Shandora is an example of a ritual that, you know, they do. Their clothes are like native Neanderthals or me in a Sunday afternoon altogether. Even their story kind of mimics of how the natives lost their islands to greed and white people. Maybe next video I'll go to the Amazon rainforest with my friend Arthas and we'll both swing to the 7 seas or something like that. I don't know, who knows. For Water 7, again, it's just, you know, it's just hard to choose. It's Venice. It's Venice, Italy, okay? The culture, the scenery, the little alleyways of water. Well, I'm sure there's no like Aqua Laguna out there. There is an ongoing problem of Venice canals slowly drying out. So it's like a reverse Aqua Laguna because like instead of water going, it's like water going out. They got bridges between islands like Rialto over the Grand Canal. The Italian craft pride mirrors a lot of CP9 masquerades. Plus, Water 7's story is filled with heavy reference to the star-sprayed man who fixes toilets for a living. You got shipwright betrayal, sea trains blowing up, a crime family. It's like Godfather Part 2, but I actually watched it and it was actually good, but in one piece. And speaking about fascists, Dressrosa is also a part of Italy. Primarily Rome, Italy. Just think about it. Dressrosa, the toy carnage-like fiasco, involves the Colosseum with a madman controlling the entire country with strings behind the scenes. Dressrosa is 100% based on Rome. And not to burst your bubble, but you can literally see the entire Colosseum's-like structure in Dressrosa. So of course, it had to be Rome. You stupid fuck. Back in the old days, they all gathered up in the Colosseum, just watch people fight to the death or something like that. But pretty sure half of them don't know that they're actually slaves and not, you know, battling with honor or pride. They're just slaves fighting for their lives, which kind of mirrors a lot like Dressrosa in a lot of ways. Toys being used as slaves, slaves being forced to fight. I don't know how much Rebecca's armor fits in the Rome-like garment. I still don't know what Oda was trying to do with, you know, making Rebecca's armor that thin, since literally there was no reason to do that. She's 16, but everything else seems like Rome to me. Again, subscribe, like, support small creators, and that's probably it. Fuck, man. Wano's Japan. Again, I don't want to go off a tangent. I really hate Wano. Like, Wano as an arc. I hate Wano, I hate Kaido, I hate everything about the entire island of Wano. But, if you see Japan, Wano, they're very similar. I've been to Japan, trust me, they're very similar. I've been to Japan, I haven't been to Wano, but there are a lot of similarities. But there's actually kind of more similarities to the old Japan and the countryside than like the new Japan. Like, you can't just say like, oh, look at Tokyo and Shibuya, that's like Wano. They, like, legally, they can't be. They can't be. But you got dragons, you got, like, ninjas, of course, you got jutsu. Like, they got jutsu in, like, in One Piece now? Like, can Naruto talk no jutsu some of, like, One Piece's villains, okay? I saw a video about that, too, like, one of the YouTube creators I follow, and dang it, like, fuck, bro. Like, I was gonna make that video, bro. But now I legally can't because he already talked about it and people are gonna think about it like, oh yeah, you're a stealer. You're a dirty Filipino. I don't know. I don't fucking know. Again, if you disagree with me in the comments, you are wrong and you're not case. Subscribe, like, support more creators, and I love you guys. Real one, say it back.